I just got back from church a couple of hours ago, and afterwards I got into a conversation with a brother. He knows that I talk about relationships on here with y'all and all of that. So we briefly got into it about how, we grown now and relationships ain't how we thought they was going to be whenever we grew up. And one of the aspects he discussed was that, he worked so hard to get to this space financially where he's at. He's a hardworking brother. He makes dang good money, really good money. But in translating that over to his relationship and trying to spoil his woman, it ain't really yielded the returns that he thought. Like, he'll do nice things for her, but the happy moment would last only for a second, or she still got the same complaints and, different things like that. And it got me thinking, like, I don't know if today's men understand this, but today's women are no longer spoiled by money. They're not. I know that's what you see the girls online and they're getting Birkin bags and new Lamborghini trucks and all that kind of stuff. But real women, and by real women, what I really mean is women with real intentions, long-term intentions, because sometimes you can have a good girl going bad because she's hurting right now. So she just gonna get money out these dudes. She don't care nothing about them. She just in that season. But for women that want something real, fellas, you cannot spoil that woman with money, not money alone, and dang sure not money at the wrong time. Matter of fact, I was watching a TD Jakes sermon about this not too long ago. The right thing at the wrong time actually becomes wrong. So if you're trying to spoil that woman with money, and say, for instance, she been wanting quality time, right? But now you just throwing money at her. Now that money is kind of a disrespect. Or if you're trying to apologize with money or diamond rings or something expensive. Yes, women on the outside would love to have something like that because they ain't been hurt by you. But if you've done your woman wrong, it ain't money that she wants. She wants change behavior. She might even not want the apology at all. But that's a different story. Like, today's women, though, you can't really spoil them with money, though. That what they really want is peace of mind. Like, they want the things that are rare. That's what they want. They want the consistency. They want the loyalty. They want the respect. They want the trust. They want a man that can teach them things. If you want to spoil a woman today, you have to be able to deliver on those things. Why am I saying I'm just blowing smoke? No. Ladies, vouch for me when I say this. If you over the age of 30, because I'm thinking young girls, you might be able to impress them or something like that. 22, 23, 21. But any woman over the age of at least 25, but I'm thinking 30, 35, she's already been around a man with money. She's already been around a man with money, or she's her own man with money and she got bread. So those types of things don't impress her. And she's also been around men with money who didn't have the character to match. Again, ladies, put I down in the chat if I'm speaking facts. So now that money is no longer something that they lust for, is no longer something that impresses them because they've been in a nice car with a guy, who disrespects and talks crazy outside of his mouth. They've been in a nice house, but been left there alone or not sure where that man was at while he was gone from that nice house. So they've been around all of these different nice things and they've seen the nastiness it can bring out of a man. So they no longer have that same taste in their mouth for just the finer things in life. I'm not saying good women don't like nice things. I'm saying it doesn't take the place of the real things for a woman that's real, for a woman that wants you for a real reason. So for those of y'all, like, if you just go and try to go to the club and impress some chicks with a section or something like that, okay. But when you talking about a woman who is wife material, some woman that's really meant for the long term, not just for a good time, for a short time, that woman cannot be impressed by your money, man. And that's a good thing, because if you get a woman that can be impressed by your money, that's the same woman that's going to leave if that money get low. That's the same woman that's going to leave if somebody else take your job, or the company that you in downsizes, or your business venture don't work out, the IRS come for that bread, or the music career don't work out. That's the same type. The woman that's impressed and in lust with your bread, that's the same woman that's going to leave. But the woman that's going to hold you down, still respect you, still speak to the king in you, still honor you, still be proud of you, that's the woman that's not impressed by your bread. So yes, she appreciates the trips and the diamonds and the jewelry and the clothes and all that kind of stuff. But again, there's a priority list with a real woman. First things first, she need that loyalty. Like, it's not that special if it's for everybody. It's really not. It's not that special if you choosing her, but you still infatuated with options. So it's just not that special. It's not that special if that's the only way you know how to apologize, because now all of that nice stuff is really just a pacifier. And I get it. We were taught this whole money thing with women from a generation of men that dealt with a generation of our great grandmothers and whatnot. that literally depended on these men for financial survival. So yeah, they could present some money, flash some money, and that was plenty enough to soothe everything going on in the house, to basically shut her up in a sense or something like that. Like they were able to provide money really in total ignorance of the woman's emotional well-being and emotional health. But again, word to the wise, we are not living in that time anymore. Today's women have their own bag. Today's women can go and work on their own. They're not looking for a man for financial survival. These aren't the group of, this isn't the generation of women that needs financial saving, right? So we were taught this by older generations, like, oh, just get her this, just get her that. That's what they did. And that woman was quiet. While deeply she still resented that man and was miserable. Today's women, they about to stick around and be miserable for nobody. Today's women, the reason why they living longer than us, they prioritizing their mental and emotional health. And what that means is requiring the absolute most in the areas that matter the most. And the funny thing is this, those same women are the ones that get chastised by us because we don't understand their standards. And even some women will do the same thing. I honestly consider them pick-me's, but that's a different conversation. But these are the people that tell those women, you're going to die alone. You got all of these standards. You want a man to honor you, to protect you, to respect you, to teach you things. You want a man that's going to love on you, good times and bad. You want a man that ain't going to switch up when things get real. Oh, you're going to die alone. Ladies, put I down in the chat if you've been told your standards are unrealistic, or you're going to die alone, or this or that or the other, because somebody is trying to shame you for having standards and requirements. First off, let me speak to that real quick. Don't get spooked by that. That's almost like if you got kids in the modern era, right, since the internet, and you on here looking for a babysitter. Say you go online and you're looking for a babysitter. You post a job request or something like that. And in the description of the job request, you say, you know what? No child predators allowed. No ex-felons, no child predators, no ex-pedophiles, none of that allowed. And then you see somebody in the comments saying, you ain't gonna find no babysitter like that. You gonna be keeping your own kids tonight. You ain't gonna have nobody watch your kids ever like that. Tell me something. Would you be upset with that person? Would you be upset if that was the case? If you genuinely did not find anybody to babysit your kids, because the fact that you don't want any child predators or ex-pedophiles to babysit your kids or even to apply for the job repulses people. Would that bother you? No. And the same thing goes for whenever you raise your standards and you have these requirements that go against the status quo or that are higher than the average, and they're maybe not so appealing to everybody. And you know, all you're doing is running off people that were likely predators anyway. You know what I'm saying? And instead of the analogy is this: no, you're not entrusting a child to a potential predator, but you're entrusting your mental health. You're entrusting your physical health. You're entrusting your heart. You're entrusting your capacity to love others and yourself to somebody. You don't want a predator. You don't want an ex-pedophile. You don't want somebody who has a tricky history or tricky present and not be qualified to do the job, because why? That's going to come at a much greater price than you just having to be alone. Right? No? Yes? Maybe so? Speak to me down in the comments. So don't get tricked out of your spot, off your square with that whole you gonna die alone and all that kind of stuff. People think that's the worst thing in the world. No, the worst thing in the world is living your life, dying inside every day because you're made to feel alone with the person that you're in a relationship with. That's the worst case scenario. That's the things people should be trying to spook you against and, discourage you from ending up in the situation because that's what a lot of people are doing. But it looked good because on paper, they've been married 50, 60 years. Y'all ever seen those couples? Those older couples, I know I have, in which the woman looks burnt out, stretched thin. She looked like she done lived a really stressed out life. And the man and her barely talk at all. They just coexisting together, but there's no love in that house. There's no like in that house. The woman just over there slaving over a hot stove or doing for him, and she hates that man's guts. He can't stand her. But they done ended up wasting the last 50. Like, that's what you want to avoid. As opposed to possibly enjoying your own space, protecting your own peace. Yes, desiring companionship and all of that, but not letting that desire cost you your well-being, emotionally, mentally, physically, or otherwise. That's a much better deal. But back to what I was saying, like whenever you're dealing with somebody, ladies, this is why keep your standards high. There are guys who get this already. I don't want to paint the picture like men out here don't understand this concept. A lot of men don't. But for every yin, there is a yang. There are men out here who totally understand this, and they're tired of the game the same way you are. They've been working on themselves the same way you have. They've been played with. They've been tried to be tricked and everything else the same way. Their patience is running thin. They have frustration with the dating scene just the way that you have. Some people even say that a lot of these men's standards are too high. Are you expecting this out of today's women? Ain't nobody doing all of that stuff. You know, ain't nobody cooking and cleaning, or not even, let's go beyond cooking and cleaning. Ain't nobody gonna speak to the king in you. Ain't nobody healed and whole, or at least to a point where they can function in a relationship. There are men, and I know this personally, that are getting told the same thing. And these brothers are called evolved men because they're not going from relationship to relationship. They want it right or not at all, just like evolved women. But the problem I see, and the reason why a lot of y'all are missing each other, evolved men and evolved women, is not because evolved men are so hard to find. But it's because a lot of evolved women have only been taught how to evolve and how to grow and how to be amazing as women, and not how to position themselves to be found. Now, why is that important? Because evolved men don't have intuition like evolved women do. Evolved men don't have that finder. They don't have that, but there are things you can do to be found by an evolved man. It's not the same thing as what it took for you to evolve as a woman and become great. You have to get out the house. You have to know how to evaluate an evolved man. You have to know how to show yourself as an evolved woman in the first couple of seconds of conversation with an evolved man. It's not hard, but a lot of y'all were not taught that. Now, if you want that conversation, I broke that down for thousands of women who have already testified to the effectiveness of these strategies. If you want those strategies for free, click the link pinned right here in the comment. Secrets to Making Evolved Men Crave You. I pinned the link to the masterclass where I broke that down. I simplified it step by step. Over an hour, I went in on how to have evolved men chasing you, lined up down the street so you can choose the right one for you. And it don't matter how you look. It don't matter what your size is, how many kids you got, all of that nonsensical stuff society says makes you desirable or undesirable. Evolved men do not rock like that. Their measurement system is not the same as some of these YouTubers that's telling you nobody wants you or et cetera. Get off of that. Click the link pinned here in the comment if you want to know the strategies to attract a truly evolved man who can match you in your values. But back to what I was saying. For fellas out there, man, like women these days, I'm not saying all of them, because some of them are out here begging and some of them are out here infatuated with money and all that kind of stuff. Probably ain't the ones that you want. But women who want something real, women who have something to contribute to you in your life, women who actually do care about your well-being and your happiness, are going to be checking that you have the capacity and the equipment to take care of them beyond the financial means. I'm not promoting struggle love. I'm not saying that your money or your financial stewardship don't matter. What I'm saying is, first things first, do you have the consistency? Do you have the loyalty? Do you have the trust? Do you have the protection beyond just physical protection? Can she be with you and say that this is my man without having any type of paranoia or second thought that, you know, something negative is going to be said that's going to make her feel ashamed for claiming you as her man? You know, at night or morning, noon, and night, does she ever feel neglected by you? Does she ever feel like a last priority? Does she have to beg to get a slot on your schedule because you so hustling or whatever the case may be? If you want to spoil a woman today, you have to do so in the areas that matter to a woman of real substance, to a woman of real value, and money ain't it. Dang sure get your bag up. Don't be afraid to spend money. Don't be cheap. I'm not saying that. But get your other bag up. Get your character bag up if you want to pull today's women. But those are just my thoughts, man. Y'all share this on your timeline for somebody else that needs to hear it. If you got anything from it, if you did, make sure you bless somebody else with this message too. And do not forget to get access to Secrets to Making Evolved Men Crave You, so you can stop the pattern of these guys that would just waste your time. That link is pinned right here, right here. Y'all see it? Right here. Click that link. Go ahead. Get access. Watch that tonight. I'll holler at y'all later. Y'all be good.